Hey there, fight fans. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this episode of Combat Sports Talk. Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC and Bellator discussion, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and joining me this week is the man with the keys to victory, John Keys.
Yes, we finally paid the light bill, and we're back on now. Yes, we are. Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining our GoFundMe for our light bill. We appreciate that. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, so let's talk about what happened. See,
All right.
what had happened was we were just peachy keen doing the show last week, episode 187, which is
And
this
might I
episode is
add-
also episode 187 because we didn't publish episode 187 last week, so we're still
We didn't?
episode 187.
Well, I mean, might I add, I was in the middle of a fantastic speech. And then it was just like, I saw Ryan's face and I saw my face. I'm like, I'm moving, but the face is not moving. And then I'm looking at Ryan's face. I'm like, Ryan's face is not moving. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. So it's out there on YouTube if you want to see what 187 was before this 187. So this will be the second 187 episode.
Part two.
But yeah, if you want to see it, it's on YouTube. But I didn't publish it because we were kind of mid thought, and it was shaping up to be a long show anyway because we went in on so many topics, and so it was incomplete, and so I really didn't think that we should record it. But what happened? We were sitting here talking, and like everything was going, and then all of a sudden it started raining, and I'm like, okay, well it rains, lightning starts striking, and I'm like, I see the lights flicker, and then it just everything powers down, boom, and I'm like, just throw my pen against the wall. I'm like, dadgummit, the show's ruined. So,
well, hey, it was the Merc episode. It was 187 Merc, and so we got Merked.
Well, this one is also labeled 187. So let's hope we don't get murked again.
Well, God was telling us to wrap it up anyway. So
let's hope that lightning does not strike twice, because if it does, maybe God is telling us that we should move along, right?
Yeah, move it down to a 30-minute show. Yeah,
your show's too long. Combat Sports Talk.
All right, so let's get this party started. I know
let's
people don't want to hear
rolling.
about our lives. I mean,
that's right. So let's get into it. So, we got to start off with, there was a fight on Saturday night, and we didn't get to pick it, so therefore you don't get to listen to all of the crows sounds that you would have gotten for all your bad picks. So we're going to go into the results. I'm messing with you. We're going to go into the results of Saturday night in the official decision. This is the official decision. This is where we look at the fights on Saturday night. It was UFC Vegas 40, Ladd versus Dumont. Saturday, October 16th at the Apex Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. There were 5 fights on the card. And first fight, Nate Landwehr defeated Ludovic Klein via submission, anaconda choke. It was a nasty anaconda choke.
It was really sick, and they looked so tight. I mean, I don't know what's deadlier, a guy that's fresh that's slapping on an anaconda aggressively, or a man that's really tired and like, I need to win, and slaps on an anaconda and just leans his whole body onto it until the guy. I don't know which was nastier. I think the tired man anaconda is probably better, because you're just like, if you die, you die. I mean, I'm just gonna hold you here.
You're holding on for dear life. Like, this is it. Like, if you get out of this, you're gonna win. Like, I'm too tired.
Love it, man. But hey, it shows heart. Okay, it shows heart all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. In the next fight of the night, we had Manon Fiorot versus Mayra Bueno Silva, and
Myra
Myra
Bueno Silva. Yeah, Myra
Bueno
Bueno Silva.
Silva.
Yeah.
And Firo defeated Silva via unanimous decision. One judge gave it a 10-8 round. Other one was 30-27 on two of the cards. So it was a unanimous decision. I don't like 10-8 rounds. Like a 10-8 round needs to be just dominant. Like you are getting beaten pillar to post. The guy, has, less than 5 strikes for the entire round. Like it's got to be just, insane. And I'm very conscious about when I say this is a 10-8 round. It's always a 10-9 round unless you're like, stop the fight. That's a 10-8 round.
Right. Like, please stop. Why are we doing this, Herb?
Why Herb Dean?
You see how we call specifically Herb.
Right. You're like, you're like, Herb, like there are 3 more fights on the card, bro. Like the fight gods will be appeased. Why are you trying to get all the sacrifices now?
And but yeah, I agree. I mean, and Bueno Silva, that was not that fight. It was not a 10-8 round in any of those rounds. 10-8 means that you're on the ground for 90% of the fight, and dude is kicking you to get back up, and then when you get back up, you start running.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, or it's one where you get rocked and you're just you never recover, but you just haven't. You're still semi intelligently defending yourself. So it's you're getting beat up around the cage. Everywhere you're going, you're just taking punches, but the ref for some reason hasn't stopped the fight yet. Like that's a 10-8 round.
Right. Agreed.
In the next fight of the night, Jim Miller, like talk about a name that's been there for a long time. Jim Miller defeated Eric Gonzalez via knockout in 14 seconds in round number 2.
You know he's a twin, right? You do know that Jim Miller.
Yes, I do know he's a twin.
Cole Miller. And I remember when these guys started out new, all right? And they were submitting people then. It was like, it was the Miller twins, and then it was Joe Lozon, and they were just, they just submitted people viciously.
Now I want to give you a good sense, guys, of how long ago that was. This was back when John Keys had pigment in his hair and his beard. That's how long ago.
I still got the Alamo right here. Okay,
you got that last patch right there. They're holding out. Yeah, that's what it is. You got the Mexican army all around them. They're just waiting for Sam Houston to come back. Just for men, exactly. They're waiting for Sam Houston.
I'm telling you, it is not going well here, people. Next week I'm going to shave. I'm going to shave tonight. It's getting fuzzy. It's getting hot.
But that's the thing. We're going into false winter. So it's.
Is that what they call it in Texas? Is false? Well, I thought they called it fall heat.
Well, okay. So since we're making Alamo jokes, we should talk about Texas weather real quick. So in Texas, you get first summer,
yeah,
and then you get second summer. And then after second summer, you get fake fall,
aka fall heat.
Yeah. And then you finally start getting what, let's call it autumn, and then you get fake winter. And what happens? What happens is like for 2 weeks in like November, it's gonna get real cold. It'll freeze, and you're like, oh, it's winter time. Here it is. And then the next week, it's 80 degrees.
Literally, people, that's not a joke. Every time that is, with the exception of maybe a couple times, like the Super Bowl weekend, okay, it froze over, but that Monday it did hit like 70 degrees up there. Yeah. And I was like, okay, all right, but yeah, it's pretty much that's how it goes. It's summer, then fall heat, then autumn. And I'll say it's the coldest part. We get our 2 weeks of winter, like between January and February.
Yeah.
That's our 2 weeks.
The end of January, into February, that's when we finally get some cold. Like we get winter legit. I mean, that's if you go back to last year, or this year. It's this year. not last year.
That's this year. Yeah.
This year.
That's
Go
how
back
long
to
2020's been going, people.
yeah,
Going that long.
yeah. The snowpocalypse we had in Texas. It was during the January, February time frame. That's when it gets cold, and it's that way for a few weeks, and then we get spring, and then we get summer again.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
welcome to Texas.
Yeah, you don't like the weather? Wait a minute, it'll change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Co-main event: Andre Alofsky versus Carlos Philippe. Alofsky is still. I mean, like, we got some old heads on this card. Jim Miller, Andre Arlovsky, and Arlovsky still making it happen. Unanimous decision, 29-28 on all 3 cards.
This was the one fight where I was sitting there like, I don't think he's gonna do it on this. Man, was I wrong? He actually pulled it out, and I was like, dude. And now he's talking like he wants that strap again. I'm like, I can't really disagree with the run with him.
All I gotta say is this: talk all you want, Andre Arlovsky, but I think Debo said it best. You want some of this, old man? And I think the answer should be no, Andre Arlovsky.
Okay, so you're going against your own rules, sir, because you do understand that Arlovsky is Russian.
He is not Russian.
He is Russian.
He is not Russian.
He's Russian. He just lives in Chicago. Okay,
he is not Russian.
When he first started the UFC, he was Russian.
He's not Russian.
Okay, what is he now? What is he? Don't say Chicago.
His nationality is Belarusian.
Beautiful Russia.
Boom. Beautiful. Belarusian.
Belarus is if you go back to the Soviet Union.
Yeah, the Soviet Union is not Russia. The Soviet Union is the Union of Soviet Social Republics. It is not Russia. Russia was part of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
But wait a minute.
So therefore,
when you do Dagestanis, you say never bet against a Russian.
Because Dagestan is a region of Russia. Dagestan is in the border of Russia.
I'm gonna need you to quit splitting hair, sir.
Okay. No. Fact finder right here. That's what I am. So Dagestan is Russian. Dagestan is Russia. Belarus is Soviet bloc, but not Russia.
Not Russian enough. Russian, but not Russian enough. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Rambo was in there in the movie. I think Rambo was there.
In order for me to be right, it's not Russia.
Literally says Russian in the name, but we're not going to call it Russian. Right?
Yeah, right.
We're going to call it impossible Russian. Okay, that's what we're beyond Russian. Okay.
Yeah. In the main event of main event of the evening, Norma Dumont defeated Aspen Ladd via unanimous decision. I personally think maybe Aspen Ladd won one round, but it was pretty much a dominant performance by Norma Dumont. I got nothing to say. Oh, the only saving grace for Aspen Ladd is that this was a late fight replacement for Holly Holm, and so she wasn't planning on fighting this fighter, and so maybe that's what caused her inactivity. But at the end of the day, like Aspen Ladd and all the heat that was following her, I think she's pretty much, anybody on that hype train is looking for the next stop so they can get off of it, because at the end of the day,
don't believe the hype. Don't believe.
I don't believe in I just don't believe.
Okay, and I'm okay with that for a lot of reasons. I mean, I'm not gonna say everybody jump off the hype train. I'm just saying she needs to find a stride for real. Okay, I don't think she should have. I understand you want to be game and be like, I'm gonna jump in there, but you gotta understand when you jump in there, the whole point is not to survive, but actually win the fight. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand everybody trying to collect that check. That's a whole different topic. I think we've had quite a few discussions about catching that check, but you also got to win too. All right.
Yeah, it's the 3 rules of a fighter, right? What do we do? Train,
make weight,
make weight,
and win fights.
Win fights. So Yeah. And so this is what's caused the controversy. It's not the fact, like, Aspen Ladd 2 weeks ago missed weight and dang near killed herself trying to make 135. She should already be at 145 anyway. That's where she needs to be fighting because she can't make 135.
Right.
So she's back. Should have gone through. She had gone through a training camp for the fight 2 weeks ago that she couldn't make weight for. So she's not out of shape. Like she was ready for a fight. The fact is that she just didn't show up like her body did, but her aggression didn't. And that's what caused the controversy. And that's what we're going to have a little bit of conversation about, is that the controversy is really around the Aspen Ladd's corner. As she progressed through the fight, her coach got increasingly pointed with his feedback of her performance.
Yes. It was a little rough. So, okay. And, I'm, as a former military person, I have learned one of the most unique skills is to differentiate the noise from the actual information. And if you separate it, I've listened to coaches for years in MMA, and you can separate the noise from the information. That fight right there, I couldn't separate the noise from the information when it came to that. He was really he was like laying in trying to motivate her. But one thing about motivating people, it's a very fine instrument. You gotta know the person you're motivating. You gotta know what lights a fire in them, because sometimes that motivation can become a weighted chain.
Yeah, well, and I agree with you on that, and that's really kind of the the thing that I want to get to is the fact that, like, when he's talking, everyone says, well, the coach knows what the fighter needs.
Yeah.
If that was working, then do it. But it didn't seem that she was responding to his to what he was saying.
Yeah, it definitely looked that if that was the weighted chain part. I think the stuff that instead of pushing her up, it was almost like he was pushing her down. And that's her boyfriend, by the way. That's her boyfriend that was coming in on her like that. And I'm just like, I understand you can turn it on and off. There are people out there that can do it. I'm not gonna. I would be cold blooded to say Ike and Tina did it. I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, listen,
ladies and gentlemen,
it's coming.
That's the light.
What
It's
you just
not going to
heard
get.
is solely the opinion of the speaker and does not reflect the opinions of anyone else on the Combat Sports Talk podcast or anyone affiliated with this program.
All right, continue.
Now, I'm not going to be mad at that because it's not going to get any easier tonight because we're going to have a lot of hard conversations about
we are.
Yeah,
we are. So
with that said, go ahead.
I do have the audio, and I'm going to attempt to play it. So let me know if you can hear it. I'm going to attempt to play the audio, so we can talk a little bit more about that.
You're kind of standing in that no man's land, okay? Lead with your backside, not your front side, okay? She's trying to counter you with the right hand. You're f***ing around.
All right, this is round two.
You got to fight. You're down 2-0 now. You got to fight. You got to change the pace, and it's got to be quick.
Round 3.
3-0. Please tell me what you're doing. You have to throw more than one punch. You got to get into the fight. It's time to fight. It's the 4th round. You're down 3-0. Pick it up. Okay? Fight to win. Fight to win every second of every minute of every round. You have to finish this broad now. Hey, honestly, I don't know what you're doing. You close the distance and you're dumping out. Like how you finished. I don't know what you're waiting for. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You have cardio through the days. Push pace. Now you have to. You have to go balls to the wall. And caution to the wind, and you got to go. You're down basically 4-0. You may have won that last round. Either way, you have to finish.
So there you have it, right? Like, at first you're getting, at the end of the first round, he's giving her good, constructive things to do. Like, hey, you need to put your jab out there. You need to do this. And then after that, it just becomes a bit of just berating. And I understand, people will be like, well, that's her coach. That's what he felt like she needed to hear. But what I didn't hear is any more constructive things of what to do once she got back into the ring. And, I would wish George was here because as a coach, one of the things that he excels in is like what you do when you're cornering somebody. And none of the people, at least in these clips, and we understand that these clips are edited so that we can only hear what her coach said. But what I didn't hear her head coach say is, okay, so now that I've berated you for not sticking and moving or doing whatever, let me tell you what I want you to work on. I want you to work on just throw the 1-2.
Right.
Just throw the 1-2. Let me see you throw the 1-2. And if you hit that, now we can start building on something. But no, he never got there.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally, have I told you about the slap and hug technique?
Slap and hug. Never heard that.
Okay. So I learned this from sales. Okay. This is how I had such a high sales rate of over 90%. What I would do is customer would come to me and be like, I need this, this, and this. And if we didn't have it, I would just be like, we don't have this. Okay, we can't do this. I would hit them hard with the hard truth. And then I let them soak it in for a second. And then I'll be like, but this is what I can do for you. And then lay all the options out on there. Most appreciative, they'll get what I want. It is the slap that I tell them no. And then it's the hug that I reinforce what they can get. And that's what all I heard was slap, 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 slap. That's all I heard.
Yeah, but I like that. I like the slap and hug. We may have to institute that. I like that.
I thought I've told you about the slap.
Never told me about the slap and hug, but this is a combat sports talk first.
Okay, well, yeah, there's the slap and hug. Okay, you slap them and then you hug them. Okay, yeah. Shock and awe. And he could have sat there and said, "Look, this is what you're doing. This, doing this." If he had just sat there and said, "Look, you have all the tools to do this. You can put it together now. Go ahead and release." If he even gave that much, I would have gave him a leeway, but he didn't give that out.
Yeah, now that you've mentioned it, the slap and hug, which I like the way you called it, the shock and awe, except it's not AWE, it's AWWWW. It's the shock and awe. Anyway, so I coach 8-year-old flag football, and I'm the head coach, but I'm also the offensive coordinator. And my quarterback is 8 years old, and so we're trying to institute a passing offense. And sometimes he'll just make a brain fart, and it was funny because things that we have gone over and over again, not over just weeks of practice, but seasons of practice. Things as simple as left and right. And he will brain fart. And he brain farted last week or this past weekend like multiple times. And so I'm like, you gotta know your left and right. Like, that's my shock. And then I'm like, but hey, guess what? We get another try at this. Okay, so we're gonna run this play again. And so you get the aw. And so we didn't get the shock and awe. We didn't get that slap and hug. We only got slap. We only got shock. And his fighter did not respond.
Right.
And so, I think that all the people who were like, this is what she needed, she deserved it, she's a fighter, this is what the fight game is. A fighter will tell you that this sport and most sports are 95% mental.
Yes. And this is the one time where, and it kind of falls on the coach in my opinion, as he should have recognized the mental shift where he was going with that. That he should have recognized rather that it's more important to see where your fighter is at mentally than to get your verbiage out to them. And I think he failed on that one.
And I think that he accepted that. So, he did respond to the cornering criticism. He said, tonight was not our night. It's been our night many, many times at the highest level, but not tonight. I blame myself, though it may not be my fault. It's up for debate. It's not up for debate. I take all the blame. Yes, after the first couple of rounds, I may have been a little harsh, but I know Aspen, and at that time, technical conversation was not in the cards being down 3 rounds. Nonetheless, I own it, and I am sorry, Aspen lad, from the bottom of my heart. I will continue to be better each time. I think that's great that he recognizes, even though I don't understand why he has to say it's not my fault. Like, a good coach celebrates the athlete when they win and accepts responsibility when they lose. That's what coaches do. And so to say that it's not his fault, well, whose fault is it? Is it Aspen's fault? Because
that's what he sounds like he's saying.
Sounds like he's saying it's Aspen's fault.
Man, he's saying it's Aspen's fault without saying it's Aspen's fault.
I know. He needs to make a TikTok on that. Say it's Aspen's fault without saying it's Aspen's fault. Now you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Duet this, stitch this. So yeah, I mean, it's really one of those things where it's bizarre. I really celebrate the Twitterverse for coming to Aspen's aid, and a lot of people were really upset with Aspen Ladd's coach for how he treated her in the midst of the fight. Now, maybe we can get George to weigh in on this when he comes back next week, or something like that. We were having a good conversation in the Intelligent Defense discussion group about this one. So, for those of you who are listening who are part of our Intelligent Defense discussion group on Facebook, find this one and weigh in on it. Let us know what you think.
And if you're not, why not? Okay, get in there. Give us some dirt. All right, I want to hear some opinions.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
And as far as I'm concerned, if even if you're an athlete or if you're not an athlete, if you've been coached or if you've never been coached, I want to hear that opinion.
Absolutely. It is one of those things where our Intelligent Defense discussion group on Facebook is about the debate. It's not about name calling. It's not about the memes and the garbage stuff that you find on other discussion groups. It literally is about, you have an opinion, defend it intelligently. That's what the name of the group is. So definitely weigh in on this subject, because I think that it's relevant to have people who have varying experiences being a coach, or being a mentor, or being a manager, and people who are who are workers, who are fighters, who are athletes on other sports, to weigh in on being on either side of that conversation. Because I just think that when you look at it, what you'll find is that most times, a little bit of honey will go a long way. Will go a long way.
Not the slap.
Not the slap. It's the hug, baby. It's the hug. It's not the slap. It's the hug. It's not the shock. It's the
Exactly.
There it is. All right, let's go ahead and close the book on this one and put this on the shelf. And let's go to our next segment, which is Finding the Angles. This is Finding the Angles. This is where we talk about the things that are top of mind in our head or in the MMA world. And we are going to talk about the thing that number one thing I wanted to talk about, which was the number one thing I wanted to talk about. It wasn't the number one thing because we were talking about Tyson Fury. But this was one of the most important things I want to talk about, because this goes into another topic that is relevant in the MMA world, and that's domestic violence. So this is our headliner. All right. So I think what we'll do is we'll start with Luis Pena, who is charged with battery and domestic violence. This came out last week. We covered this last week on the show that was struck by lightning. And basically what happened is Luis Pena's, I think it's girlfriend. I don't think it's wife.
It wasn't wife. It was girlfriend.
Called the police and basically said, "Hey, listen, I need you to come and get him. He punched me with a closed fist, he just did this, but he also did this a couple of days ago. I have the bruises and the Band-Aids to prove it. He said he wasn't going to do it or something like that. And so he's done it again and he's got to go." Basically they have a no-touch restraining order, and basically she said they aren't supposed to be living together, but they are. And so because he touched her again, she called the police, and away he went. He was arrested. Now, this was another misdemeanor charge. Now, the other one was in Florida. This one, the other one was in Las Vegas. This one was in Florida.
Right.
But once again, it was a misdemeanor charge. I think this goes back to what we were talking about before, where it has to do with the severity of the injury. and the frequency of times that a person has been arrested or convicted of doing it. I don't have the exact Florida statute in front of me, but once again, this was listed as a misdemeanor crime.
Okay, so here we go. So whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony, a fist still contacted the face.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a fist still contacted the body. I don't think it doesn't matter if it's a misdemeanor or a felony. It's the fact that the violence happened. Okay, a misdemeanor and a felony is sort of like a judge's call there. Okay, and I mean like, you know, a MMA judge call. Well, it wasn't significant strikes. Crap. That is crap. No, he needs to be treated as any man that is involved in a domestic violence that was the aggressor, and he is a contracted fighter, he needs to be released. Period.
Well, and that's what happened. The UFC released Luis Pena following the arrest related to domestic violence. Basically, they released a statement that says, at this time, the UFC believes Mr. Pena needs to deal with the health and legal issues in front of him and consequently has informed Mr. Pena's management that his promotional agreement has been terminated. The statement also added that Pena has been open about his struggles with mental health and substance abuse issues. The UFC on multiple occasions attempted to help him get professional treatment. You know, it seems like that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, it seems like that's the right thing to do, except the fact that John Jones, before Luis Pena did it, he also was arrested for misdemeanor domestic violence.
Yeah.
Look at that. That the UFC has attempted to help John Jones with his mental health and substance abuse issues. But John Jones is still on the roster. And so basically they have a wait and see policy right now where they are going to wait and see what's going to happen on October 26th whenever he, I guess the term is arraigned, or he goes and sees the judge about those charges before they start making decisions about his long-term participation with the promotion.
Man, if that's okay. All right, so let me get this straight. I mean, I wish they would just go ahead and just say it. All right, it's because John Jones is a bigger draw than Luis Pena.
It is.
Just say it. It is. I mean, that's the long and the short. That's all you're telling me. That Luis Pena, even though he was popular, he is not the John Jones draw.
Nope.
Okay.
He is not.
And basically, what you're telling us is that, you know, if you're John Jones, if you make that money, if you bring in that money for us, we will protect you from all your and I mean, and this is coming after the fact that, well, there's more story to the John Jones story, and it bears the fact that there are people out there that still have some sense of integrity. That are not willing to sacrifice who they are for what is provided to them.
And I think this comes up and really sets up the story about John Jones being asked to leave his gym for of what now 10 years or something like that.
His whole career.
Jackson Winklejohn. I mean, basically, there has never been anyone more in John Jones's corner than Jackson Winklejohn. They allowed Rashad Evans, who brought John Jones to the gym, to leave so that they could keep John Jones.
Yes.
That's how committed they have been. And so for Mike Winklejohn to be like, listen, I had a conversation with him. I said, John, here's the deal. You're like my little brother. You have to stop drinking and fix these things for a certain period of time until you can come back to the gym. The gym said it, but the promotion, let's wait and see if John beats the rap before we take action.
So let's get this straight. The people who know him best, the people who know him closest, sat there and said, "Dog, you got to straighten out before we let you back in this room." Okay. And the promotion's like, "Oh, well, let's see. Let's wait and see what's really going on. We don't want to jump the gun on him. Okay, no. If take the cue from his own mentors. When your mentors are sitting there that have trained you basically from a baby on up, he is one of the building blocks of Jackson Winklejohn, and they sat there and say, "You have to straighten yourself out, sir." That tells volumes. Okay, even Daniel Cormier came out and talked about it. And Daniel Cormier, who is the most bitter rival of John Jones,
You think they'll
he
fight again?
said, "You got, huh? What's that?"
I said, you think they'll fight again?
No, because because Daniel's won. He has officially won. If you haven't watched the video, and Daniel Cormier has opened up a new YouTube. I'm plugging him, but he opened up a new YouTube vlog, much like Chael Sonnen, but it's really, really good and really, more tactically accessible. And he sat there and talked. While he talked to us, he was really talking
to John Jones. Yeah.
And he was like, "Dog, get yourself together, man to man." And a petty, if you really want to be petty about it, that was the killing blow, if you will. Mm-hmm. When your rival sits there and says, "Dude, you got to straighten up because you're not that dude anymore. You're not that guy," as my son would say to another football player. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it speaks volume when your enemy tells you, "Man, you got to straighten up. You're not there anymore." So.
Right. Yeah, it's rough. So, I think that this is just a great example of the fact that the UFC is inconsistent about how it levies out its punishment for the behavioral policy that they have, for the code of conduct. Mm-hmm. They have a code of conduct. This is specifically one of the behaviors that is an offense that you could be suspended or terminated for. But because John Jones is such a huge draw, and because he can make so much money, and because he's one of the greatest MMA fighters in the history of MMA, they are not willing to part ways with him. Now, Chael Sonnen did say that this is the way that the UFC can really affect his career by not allowing him to fight, but keeping him on roster. And so they're basically just seeping out his life and his long-term value by keeping him on the ropes. But at the end of the day, this is about, having consistency and integrity in the policies that you set up. That for too long, fighters like John Jones, and we're going to talk about Conor McGregor, who have gone well beyond the line of appropriate conduct. And the UFC has chosen to stand by these fighters, to give them multiple chances, where a Luis Pena, who may not deserve another chance, let's be clear.
Yes.
But at the same time, the UFC has in the past given John Jones and Conor McGregor so many chances that one would think that at this point, this month, would be the last straw. And clearly, the box of straws, which is not the right type of straw, it's hay, right? But we're going to go with the straw analogy. Clearly, the box of straw has more in it than what Luis Pena did.
Exactly. And you know what? It's sad. It's sad. Okay, just because now we are truly seeing them for what they are. And a follow up on John Jones. Don't you know he's back? He's training at another gym right now. And wow. I'm like, this gym. I'm like, as long as a gym is willing to open up to him, he's not going to learn. If anything, he's probably sitting there saying to himself, "Well, you know what? You just didn't have my back anyway. You just wanted me for my money."
Yeah. And
that's sad. But guess what? Any other gym that opens their door to him, I get it. You can convince yourself that you're like, you know what, this guy is working through some problems. He needs a help and everything like that. No. Okay, because there's sometimes the best way for a person to learn, and especially if they show narcissistic properties, is to be stripped of everything and forced to sit down and look at themselves for who they are. That is the only way that they will learn. And as long as as a gym opens their doors to him, they can be considered an enabler.
Wow, that's a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement. But it doesn't just end there, because when you are a celebrity, when you are in the public eye, people are going to say things and share their opinions. We have spent 5 or 10 minutes now sharing our opinions about Jon Jones. So has Chael Sonnen. So has Daniel Cormier. So has a lot of people. But Amy Kaplan, who is who reports and is a journalist who covers MMA in Las Vegas, she posted an angry direct message that Jon Jones sent to her, because she had a comment that he didn't like. And basically what he said was, what Amy Kaplan said, was, I tweeted that his daughters will learn to accept an abusive man because that's what they see or think is normal. And so Jon Jones fired off an angry direct message that said, first of all, you literally look like a witch. Second of all, keep my girls out of your mouth. You have no clue what's normal to them. You're disgusting over there You're disgusting over there judging someone else. F off. It's this type of language where he's attacking people, like for saying, and we know it's true that, when children see behavior that is, whatever behavior of their parents, they adopt that. That's where those vicious cycles come from. And so I don't think that Amy Kaplan is way off base in saying that if his daughters witness abuse, his abuse of their mother, and their mother continues to take it and stay in an abusive household, it will be normalized. And so we know that men marry women like their mother and women marry men like their father, that it is entirely possible that Jon Jones's daughters may find a man who is also abusive, and they will take it like their mother did, because it became normalized due to the frequency that they may have witnessed it. Now, all of this is alleged because, of course, Jon Jones said that he never touched his wife. He said that the argument was while they were sleeping and they never heard the argument or anything like that. But I think Chael Sonnen said it best, is that if they never heard anything, if they never saw anything, then why was your wife crying in the lobby, and why was your daughter asking for the police? You got to think about that.
I mean, what happened to her face? I'm not going to make any jokes about this, okay? But there was a joke that Brett Butler. If you don't know who Brett Butler is, she was a funny comedian who was also her comic routine did revolve around her abusive relationship. And one of the things she said was that that she had noticed a friend had a black eye, and she's like, she asked her what happened, and the woman said, "Oh, nothing." He's like, "Oh, you must have been walking by your husband when his fist went off when he was cleaning it." Just things like that. The whole pattern, okay, like I said, shows abuse. Okay,
Yes.
Whether anybody who has seen it, who has witnessed it, or who has been a part of it, see Jon Jones now for who they are. If you had an inkling about this person was there was something not right about this person, we now know why.
Yeah.
All right.
And the only reason why Jon Jones is not under greater fire is solely because his fiance chose not to make a statement the night that the police were there in Las Vegas. Like Luis Pena, his wife made a statement. She allowed photos to be taken of the abuse, and therefore that is why he got arrested, and that is why it is so much more serious. But Jon Jones's fiance would not make a statement, would not allow photos of the abuse, and that is why he is continuing to be able to go and do what he needs to do, and probably will beat this rap on October 26th, because there really is no evidence other than the report from the police of what they saw.
And just another note, if you want to understand, his psychology, Daniel Cormier has said something about him. Chael Sonnen has said something about him. A lot of reporters have said something a lot. A lot of male reporters have said something about him. A female reporter says something about him, and he goes off on her.
He came at her neck. He sure did. Like, there you go. So I think that there's more to the story, and I think that we're going to continue to cover it and continue to observe it. As we get closer to next week, we will find out, what is decided for Jon Jones. But at the end of the day, I think that, Daniel Cormier was correct, and not just recently, but many, many years ago, back when it was the Jon Jones versus Cormier 2, he said, you are not going to change. You say you're going to change, but you are not. That's not who you are. And Jon Jones, swore up and down that he was going to be a different man, and we've just seen more of the same. I want to move on from this, but I do want to throw one throwback. We're going to go back almost 10 years to December 9th, 2011. The UFC was still, relatively new in the hearts and minds of casual fans everywhere. And the UFC fired an up-and-coming fighter named Miguel Torres for a tweet that he made. And the tweet that he made was grossly inappropriate. It was about, it was a tweet that was laced with rape and other types of ideas and concepts. And what Dana White said almost 10 years ago is there's no explanation for that. There's absolutely nothing I could say to make any sense of that. And the fact that he even thinks this is funny or a joke, it disturbs me. It bothers me. This is something that caused the UFC to cut a fighter for a single tweet that he made. When you think 10 years later, the types of things the UFC has tolerated for these bigger names and these bigger fighters, it just goes back to a history and pattern of a double standard in the UFC when it comes to code of conduct and when it comes to what they tolerate from their athletes. And so I do wish and I do hope that someday that the UFC will legitimize itself by getting the type of ironclad code of conduct that we see in the legitimate sports arenas, that we see in the NFL and the NBA and MLB and some of these other, bigger promotions. And even then, the NFL isn't always consistent in how they mete out their punishments for code of conduct violations as well. But I will say this, that it is at least a head and shoulders, and has been for a decade, better than the UFC.
Yeah. And just to understand who Miguel Torres is, he's 40 years old now. He had a extremely well mixed martial arts career in WEC before when he got pulled over to the UFC. He was 40-4 at the time. He went on to go 53-9. But, just saying, they pulled him then, knowing the potential he had. And now they're going to keep Jon Jones.
And now they're going to keep Conor McGregor. So recently it was announced that Italian DJ Francesco Fascianeti accused Conor McGregor of breaking his nose in an unprovoked attack. So basically, Conor McGregor and his family are vacationing in Italy, in Rome specifically. And basically what the report says, what the report alleges, is that at 2:30 in the morning, Francesco was attacked by Mr. McGregor, the very famous McGregor, who punched me in the mouth, broke my nose in front of 10 witnesses, his friends and bodyguards. He attacked me without motivation as we talked for more than 2 hours, and we also had fun together. I could have shut up and not said anything to anyone, but since I am here to tell it, I must say that person is really violent and dangerous. Basically, his wife, Francesco Fascianeti's wife, says out of nowhere, Conor McGregor, threw a punch in the face of Francesco. He was inviting us to another party. Francesco said, okay, let's go. And he hit him. Luckily, Francesco was very close, so Conor McGregor didn't load up on his punch. Francesco flew back, fell on the table, and then on the ground. The first thing that came to mind was, are we kidding? Is this a show? She says, then I was paralyzed. I turned around and saw his friends were holding him, and this is Francesco, against the wall because he was holding him against the wall because Conor wanted to continue beating Francesco. Then they took him, Francesco, away. I turned on the light, and the guards turned them back off. Francesco was bleeding. I wanted to help Francesco, and the guards chased us away. This goes beyond now just random acts of violence that we've seen with Conor McGregor at pubs for not, where he beat up an older gentleman for not wanting to drink the proper 12. This goes beyond Conor McGregor trying to attack Machine Gun Kelly at the MTV Video Music Awards, or was it the BET? I think it was Video Music Awards.
VMAs.
Yeah. This is now an unprovoked attack that's alleged by Francesco Fascianeti and his wife Wilma, and the bodyguards were involved. That this was a whole nother level of violence. Now, if this proves to be something that actually happens, what does Dana White have to say? I mean, Conor McGregor fought this year for the UFC. He is still on the roster.
I'll tell you what he said. He actually has a cover alibi. I can't control these guys. Okay, these guys are doing crazy things. I can't control them all the time, people. He said that. Okay, he literally said that. He said that. As a matter of fact, he said it about Conor at the VMAs when he went to the VMAs incident. That's when he said that. I can't control these guys. So yeah, that's what he's gonna say.
So it comes down to, if there is truth to this, and I would suspect that there is. Why would they lie? Because if Conor McGregor didn't have a history of random acts of violence, then maybe we would, be a bit more hesitant to believe a story. But at the end of the day, why would they lie? It's an MO. It's the modus operandi of Conor McGregor. And so I'm concerned that, once again, the UFC's like shrug their shoulders and away they go. Conor McGregor is still one of the biggest draws in the UFC, and so therefore he's protected. And so I really just wanted to underline and underscore that point, that at the end of the day, we see it's clear. If you are a big name in the UFC, you can get away with atrocious behavior that damages the brand, but it's okay because you make that money. If you don't, you better mind your P's and Q's. You better dot your I's and cross your T's, because the UFC will cut you in a minute, in a heartbeat.
New York minute.
New York minute. In a New York minute. So let's do a little bit of this. I because we were gone a couple of weeks and we didn't get to post anything. I think it's valuable to to hit it with a little bit of the right here.
So what did I miss? What did I miss?
So last week, because of the lightning storm, we missed talking about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. So I want to do that. I'll come back to line number 27. So we talked about it. You can go on YouTube and see what we said then. I think we've had an opportunity to kind of see more things come out. Deontay Wilder finally had a statement that he made about what he's wishing Tyson Fury well and congratulating him, but it was too little, too late. It's kind of one of those things where. And did I tell you this happened to me on Saturday?
Yes, we were talking about it on the show, that it did happen to you on Saturday. And I think this was the moment when I was making my epic speech that would have saved, several countries under the UN. where I was like, if I, as competitive as hardcore competitive as I am, I try not to be, because I know how I get. And if I give everything 150% in there and I lose, give me a few minutes. Give me a few minutes. Don't come up to me, trying to talk to me or interview me. Because I said, Joe Rogan said it best: never interview somebody that just got knocked down. Never interview somebody who just lost. Okay, because it's just not gonna be pretty. Give me a few minutes. Give me 15 minutes, and I'll come and I'll give you all the props in the world. But if you're gonna ask me how I feel at that moment, I guarantee you're not gonna like the words that are coming out of my mouth.
I think that as a professional, I think that as an adult, you have to be
Yes,
able to compartmentalize how you feel
you.
and do the sportsmanship thing. Like
I
I get
agree.
it. I get it if you're 3 years old or you're 5 years old or you're 8 years old and you lose and you're not a good sport. Yeah, but when you're a professional,
You
I don't
gotta
need to
say
talk to you. I don't need to talk to you, but I'm going to shake your hand and I'm going to
mhm,
say good game. And then I don't have
right,
anything else to say to you. Like,
right.
go away. What was recorded and what was reported that Deontay Wilder said directly after the fight is that I still don't respect you and would not congratulate Tyson Fury. Um then he writes what he wrote where he congratulated Tyson Fury some days later. What happened to me on Saturday is that I'm coaching my 8-year-old flag football team, and
Mhm.
there's a team that we are very competitive with. They beat us the first time, and at the end of that game, even though we were upset because they ran the same play, this is like smashing the kick button on Street Fighter 2 and doing the same move, right? By the way, Street
Right.
Fighter 2 reference, you have to drink. Um,
Oh, where's your
this
drink? I'm tired of drinking by myself.
I don't my drinks are always empty by the time I get to Combat Sports Talk. The but it was that's how they beat us. We were mad, we couldn't stop them, but you know what? We shook their hands at the center of the field and we walked away, as per the rules of the league.
Right.
Saturday, we got a rematch. We went up 13-7. We stopped them with 2 minutes left in the game. There's 2 minutes left in a game. There's a running clock. I got 30 seconds between plays. What's my strategy?
Oh, you waiting the clock out. You're gonna wait it out.
So I ran the clock out. That's what I did. Here's the deal. On the last play of the game, we scored a touchdown. It got called back for a penalty, but we ran the clock out. That was the strategy. We ran the ball every play, ran the clock out. At the end of the game, I lined my team up to shake hands at the center of the field as per the rules. He called his team in a huddle. He talked to them for like 2 minutes while we sat there. And so we were like, okay, fine. You're not going to shake our hands. So we left and finished up, rallied up. And as we're walking off to talk to our cheerleaders, they break their huddle and walk off the field. And it was like, that is poor sportsmanship. That is not how you lead 8-year-olds and you teach them how to handle loss, how to handle disappointment. And so
Right.
when an adult can't do it and they can't teach the children to do it, we end up building a culture of people who aren't going to be able to admit that they are wrong, admit that they lost, aren't going to be able to accept defeat, because it happens to all of us. There's always going to be someone better than you. And even if that person is not better than you, there will always be days when that person gets the edge. And that's what happened on Saturday, and that's what happened to Deontay Wilder. There were 2 nights. The fact is that Tyson Fury is better than Deontay Wilder, and Deontay Wilder needed in that moment to be able to say, listen, you won. Congratulations. Go get him. I'm going to rebuild. I'm going to come back and I'm going to find you and I'm going to get my satisfaction. He could have said that and we would have been like,
good.
and been good.
And
But because he
and
did
not
not
only
offer that, because he did not offer that handshake, because he did not do what we expect professional adults to do, that's going to be a stain on his record as far as I'm concerned. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree 100%. Okay, so you're right. As an adult, Okay, one of the biggest things one of the greatest lessons we have to learn is that we could have planned and did everything right and still come up short. Okay, we still have to function after that. All right, once again, he, sitting up there and saying, I don't respect you, I don't do that. No, dude, give him a dap and just let it go, or still sit there and say, you know what, you got me today, but I'll get you tomorrow. I'm coming back. Don't rest on this. I will be back. And you know what? He could have hyped the next fight up even more. So he didn't have to sit there and say, I don't respect you. Okay. I have a son. I have 2 sons, 2 daughters. Okay. I expect them to be competitive in life. I expected to give them their all. But one thing I do demand of them is that if they fail, that they give respect. Be humble in defeat as you will be in victory.
100%. Now, one of the things that was a controversial thing is the fact that in the 4th round, Tyson Fury got knocked down by Deontay Wilder, not once, but twice. And one of those knockdowns was one where it was accused that it was a long count. It was a slow count. And so, a lot of people were upset. They said they felt like Deontay Wilder won that fight in that round, but because there was a long count, that allowed Tyson Fury to gain his marbles and get back up on his feet and ultimately win that fight. Here's the thing. What people are calling a long count is the fact that the referee started counting 1, 2, 3, saw that Deontay Wilder did not go to a neutral count corner, stopped counting, told Deontay Wilder to go to a neutral corner, and after he went to the neutral corner, then started his count 3, 4, 5. And people were like, that's not fair. He should have been counting the whole time, because if he had been counting the whole time, then he would have been at least on 6 or 7 or 8 by the time he turned around to get Tyson Fury.
Right.
Except for the fact that, guess what? That's not the rule. The rule is that if you are counting 1, 2, 3, and you see that the fighter is not in a neutral corner, you are to stop the count, move them to a neutral corner, and then restart the count, which is what the referee did, which is what people did not know was the rule. And so therefore they accused Tyson Fury or the referee of cheating, when in actuality he's following the Association of Boxing Commissions or whatever it's called.
Well,
ABC.
Technically he did, because he didn't restart the count at 1. Now, wait a minute. Is he supposed to restart the count?
He's supposed to restart. It says here's the rule. When the knockdown occurs, the downed boxer's opponent shall go to the furthest neutral corner and remain there while the count is being made. The referee may stop counting if the opponent fails to go to the neutral corner and resume the count where he or she, and then there's a typo, when the opponent reports to or returns to the neutral corner. So it is to resume. So stop and then resume.
Okay, here's where I have the problem at. Do you remember where Tyson Fury fell? He fell literally almost in the center of the ring towards the edge. So he and Deontay went to the left corner. He could have went to either the left corner or the right corner. They both would have been equal distance. The judge actually stopped the fight, told him to go from the left corner, and told him to go to the right corner. And started up.
No, I think if you were to go back, I think you can go back and look. He went to his corner. He was in his corner, and the judge, the referee, told him to go to the neutral corner. It wasn't to go diagonally across the ring. He went from his corner to the neutral corner, because Deontay Wilder, I think, thought that the fight was over, and so he walked over to his corner and started maybe talking up his coaches and stuff, saying, "I finally got him." And then he was directed to go to a neutral corner. I mean, we could pull up the video. I mean, the video is there. So, if you can find it, send me the link, and what we'll do is we'll put the video up so that the fans on that are watching this can see it, and then we can validate that. But at the end of the day, it's not a long count If you're in the wrong corner and the judge stops counting, it's not a long count. It is following the rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, this is definitely something we need to put up in intelligent defense.
Let's do that.
Right.
I want to go back a little bit. Corey Anderson, he was beasting 25-8. He fought Ryan Bader in the light heavyweight Grand Prix, and he buffer factored Ryan Bader.
Man, he mollywopped Ryan Bader. He put fistuses on his body. He anger beat him.
Fist couldn't hurt a fly.
Zito, you're already a dead man.
What?
Exactly.
Yeah, he was already a dead man. He didn't even know.
Yeah, he didn't even know it. And and let me talk about this. I mean, I'll say it that did Bellator put on a better show this weekend than UFC?
100%.
I like to say yes.
100%.
Absolutely. Because if you guys got a chance to go back and watch Bellator. It was really good this weekend. I mean, not just like it was good because it was de facto. It was good because it was actually really good. It's something that I've spoken about, that the bottleneck is gone, is leaving UFC, and this reign of talent is going to the other fighting organization, and we're starting to see some good fights now. So
yeah, I think so. Now I think that Corey Anderson was a little bit. By the way, he's no longer beasting 25-8, but he is now overtime.
Overtime, yeah.
He said that he was the best light heavyweight in the world. I think you might have gone a little too far there, bub, because you're not even the champion in your own promotion. That's the fight that you're getting ready to fight. And let's just say that the light heavyweight champ says you're going to be easy work. I don't know. But then there's the whole account of Jan Blachowicz, who already has a win over you, who is the UFC champion. So how are you going to be the greatest light heavyweight in the world when there are two champions who say niet?
Wow, you hit it with the niet. Oh.
That's right. That's Russian. Rule number one: never bet against the Russian.
Even if they're from Belarus.
Well, they're not Russian if they're from Belarus.
All right. Okay.
Speaking about somebody, do you know what a woolly back is?
Bless you.
You know what a woolly back is?
No. What's a woolly back?
Okay, so a woolly back is a fan of the Liverpool Football Club who is not from Liverpool.
Wow, that's kind of cold-blooded.
So they're called woolly backs. It's actually a term of endearment. It's not an insult. It's
Much like Eagle fans that live in Texas.
Fly Eagles fly. Yes, exactly. Those are called featherbacks. Anyway, you know what? We don't even need to. This is an MMA podcast. We don't need to talk about American gridiron. The reason why I bring up Liverpool Football Club is because there is a fighter who's taking the UFC by storm right now in the form of Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. And he was recently kicked out of a soccer match because he was cheering for Liverpool too hard, is what the account said.
Too hard.
Yeah.
He was going to the paint.
Yeah, he was going. He was mosh. He was a one-man mosh pit. But he is the latest UFC fighter to say that he's not going to fight ranked opponents until his pay gets better. So remember, it was Sugar Sean O'Malley who said, "Listen, I'm not trying to fight the best fighters in the UFC. I'm trying to get paid. And so I'm not going to fight anybody good until you start paying me to fight for them." And so now Paddy Pimblett is echoing that and saying, listen, they wanted me to fight Tony Ferguson. I'm like, yeah, I'll fight Tony Ferguson, but not while you're paying me what you're paying me. Pay me more, and then I'll fight the best fighters in the world. And it's like, you and I said we weren't mad at Sean, and I'm not mad at Paddy. Like,
I'm not mad at Paddy either. I mean, hey, dude, if that's how you feeling, more power to you. Okay, but Remember, what you won't do, somebody else is going to. All right. Just saying.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if somebody else does, that's fine, because what'll end up happening is they'll either get beat, and so then they won't be able to make the big money, or they'll win and they'll become this huge draw, but they're on a weak contract. So they'll be they'll be fighting the best fights of their lives and not getting paid, and by the time they're ready to get paid, it's too late. So I think that's the right strategy. If you are an up-and-coming fighter, go and make your name. Get those highlight films. Go ahead and beat up all the tomato cans you want while you're getting paid peanuts. And then whenever they're ready to feed you, whenever they're ready to make you a star, now you can fight the bigger names.
Wouldn't it be smarter? I mean, just from a promotional standpoint, that unranked fighters make this amount, then if you're in the top 10, you get your contract renegotiated for this amount. And then if you're in the top 5, you get your contract renegotiated again for such a set amount. And then if you're the champ, well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I don't even think you need to renegotiate the contract. I think you just need to have that written that graduated scale. So if you're unranked, you're going to get paid this, and you're going to get increases based upon win and show and all that kind of stuff, depending on how you do. If you get ranked in the top 15, then you'll get a bump of, let's say, 50% bump to all of your graduation scales. If you get to the top 10, you get another 50% bump, and if you get to top 5, you get 100% bump, and if you get the champion, you get points and $500K minimum. Like there you go.
There it is. And that's how you motivate fighters to be like, I'm gonna kill somebody up in, I get that Sean Strickland vibe where I want to kill somebody in the ring if they're in the top 5.
Well, the funny thing is that Sean Strickland is so scary that Luke Rockhold got hurt again.
Man, Luke Rockhold gets hurt when he wakes up in the morning. He blinks and he hurts himself. Oh, I need to wear more underwear, type thing like that,
Yeah. Yeah, Luke Rockhold wears cotton underwear because if he wore any other material, he would get hurt.
Yes, he can't wear polyester, people.
Polyester will cut him. He'll get cut.
That's death to him, man.
Yeah, don't wear wool, you'll get knocked out, buddy.
Yeah, man, you get submitted on wool, dude. Okay,
that's right. You know why we can go in on Luke Rockhold? Because what's he gonna do? Like, you can't, he's hurt.
Break himself on us. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be just another one. We know where to aim. It's right here.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, man.
So
wow.
So anyway. Speaking of getting paid, we know that that Paige Van Zandt left the UFC because she wanted to get paid, and she thought she was going to get paid in bare knuckle FC. I think she thought that because she was fighting for the UFC and she was somehow elite and elite athlete, and she had this big following, that she was just gonna murder these people in BKFC. And unfortunately, they proved a bit too stout for her liking.
Yeah, she messed with a woman by the name of Britain Hart. That was like,
Britain Hart.
Oh no.
And then Rachel Ostovich.
With them hoop earrings. I told y'all, don't be messing with these women with these hoop earrings. They fight. Okay. And Rachel Ostovich, she was having none of that. She's like, I got these big hoop earrings. I will mess you up in the parking lot. And she did. And so, we covered the fact that BKFC was like, hey, we don't know if Paige Van Zandt is going to continue with us. Right. The fact is, she went 0-2. We would love for her to come back and keep fighting, but we don't know if she's going to show up here. Enter AEW, and the wrestling promotion. How you said that, sir. I don't like how you said that.
AEW. What do you mean?
You made AEW just sound like it's welcome to this place over here.
No, it's not that at all. What it is that's where it looks like she is going to try to make a name for herself. Go down that Ronda Rousey path, where Ronda Rousey, she had her career in the UFC, she got wrecked, and then she went to professional wrestling. So Paige Van Zandt, She tried to have her UFC career, went to BKFC, got wrecked, and now she's showing up in the AEW ring alongside Cigano Junior Dos Santos, and they're trying to make a story around being part of the Dan Lambert ATT crew. That's part of that storyline.
Also, let's talk a little bit more about that, because that actually says a lot. So, for those who haven't been watching AEW, which once again, if you're like me, an old head wrestler, okay, that likes to watch professional wrestling, but yeah, AEW is actually really good. Okay, not only has ATT shown up quite a few times, but this time in this case, it was Paige Van Zandt, Junior Dos Santos, and Jorge Masvidal came to the ring and like wrecked up Chris Jericho really bad. Even Jorge even got his knee, the famous aspirin knee, up in there. All right, and took out Chris Jericho. It was really pretty entertaining. Okay, I have to say I was impressed with what they're trying to do. So I think if Paige wants to go ahead and jump over there in that women's wrestling, you're rolling your eyes, Ryan. I see that. It's fun, dude. It's ballerina set to violence, dude.
I used to be a huge professional wrestling fan. WCW was my jam when I was in college. I even went and I recently came across ticket stubs to go see Monday Nitro.
Wow.
People ask me, well, Ryan, are you a fan of the TV show Friends? I'm like, no. I'm like, why not? I was like, because it came on at the same time as Thursday Night Rumble, or Thursday, was it Thursday? It was Thursday Thunder, WCW Thunder. It came on the same time as WCW Thunder, and so I never watched it. I always watched the professional wrestling. So I've never seen more than half of an episode of Friends.
I'm with you on that. We've seen Living Singles. I mean,
So all that to say is that I used to be a huge fan of professional wrestling. Just can't get into it anymore. But it is interesting with all the crossovers from MMA into the professional wrestling world. And so with Paige Van Zandt trying to make a career of that, I wish her the best, because I think that that's probably the only place she's going to successfully be able to string together some wins is when it's pre-scripted who's going to come out victorious.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's harsh, dude. That's harsh. Thank you, Ken Shamrock, for bringing MMA to wrestling. We appreciate you.
I said it.
And see, it's a shame because you ought to watch that segment. She actually plays a pretty good heel. All right, she played a pretty good heel there. Matter of fact, all of the ATT guys play pretty good heels. So feel your feelings on that, ATT, and I hope y'all getting a nice little checky check on that. So,
Last story. We didn't get to cover it last week, but if you haven't seen it yet, you got to see the Black Beast on Hot Ones. You got to see it.
I've seen clips of it. I have not seen the full thing. So
you got to see it.
On me.
And the reason why is because Derek Lewis does not do us Texans very proud at all. I'm so jealous of Louisiana and what Dustin Poirier did. He was able to go through all 10 wings, do the final dab, and was just like, "Woo, that's a little hot." Derek Lewis was sweating, and his bald head was literally pouring, and he was drinking water. He did not do the last dab. He just powered through, and it was like, bruh, come on. You can't let this dude from Louisiana, who's half your weight, outdo you, man.
But this is Louisiana. I've known Louisiana people, they tend to eat everything, and they tend to eat it hot, okay? Not just I just trust me. It's okay. Dustin Poirier is a bar too high. Okay, it's seriously a bar too high.
He's a lightweight. He'll
literally eat a charcoal briquette if you put a little cayenne on it, and he'll eat it. Okay, he'll
let
eat
a lightweight outdo you, Derek Lewis. What are you doing?
And we still can't. And Dustin, if you're out there, you just having to catch up on us. Can we get some of that sauce? Okay, that's all
Yeah,
I'm asking. Give
yeah.
me some of that sauce.
I would love to try some of Dustin Poirier's sauce. I don't know the next time we're going to be going through that way because we got to go through Lafayette to get to New Orleans. So I might try to stop off in Lafayette to or if you're from the Lafayette to get some of that sauce. But I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. So this is a hot off the press. This is for you, our fans of Combat Sports Talk. For Christmas, what I'm getting is the 10 sauce pack from Hot Ones.
What?
And I'm going to put myself through the wing challenge. I'm going to do all 10 wings. I'm going to record the video of me going from the 3,000 Scoville first wing all the way to the Apollo Spice 10th wing. I'm going to do it for Christmas and I'm going to record it because why am I doing it? Because this Christmas will be the 10th anniversary of Combat Sports Talk.
Wow.
10 wings, 10th year anniversary. That's what we're doing. That's how we're celebrating. And I'm going to do it live. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do it live on the air, but I will record it and we'll make a whole show of it.
Dude, you do it, I do it, man. You jump, I jump.
Okay. Well, so that's what, I'm doing it. That's how I'm celebrating the 10th year anniversary of Combat Sports Talk. The 10 wing challenge. Gonna do it. So we're gonna start counting down and have mercy on my soul. I hope that I can make it. And then if I make it through and I final dab that last one, I'm calling out Derek Lewis. I'm gonna probably be less than an hour away from Derek Lewis when I do it. Because I'll be down in Southeast Texas, not far from Houston. I'm gonna call him out. If I get this thing done and I don't take drinks of water like you did, Mr. Lewis, if I'm able to do it, I'm calling you out, sir.
Man, just as long as he knows it was you, not me. Okay,
yeah, that's right. John Keys. My name is John Keys. This label down here is incorrect. No, I feel like Derek Lewis would be a fun sport, a good sport about it. But it is my goal to do all 10 for our 10th anniversary, and so therefore we'll make that happen. That's our last story. Let's go into the last segment of the show, and that is the fight card. Mm-hmm. This is the fight card. This is where we talk about the fights coming up this weekend. UFC Vegas 41, Costa versus Vettori, Saturday, October 23rd, 2021 at the Apex Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. We've got 6 fights on the card. We're going to do our flash fight pick on the main event, but we've got Nikolai Negumeranu.
Negumeranu.
There we go.
Yes.
Nikolai Negumeranu versus Ike Villanueva. You got it right, man. How did you do that? That I'm impressed. Nikolai Negumeranu.
Years of English. That's what it is. Okay, so
I don't think that's an English last name. Just gonna take a while.
I'm just phonetics, dude. I'm really good at phonetics. I'm horrible at math. I'm really good with phonetics. Everything language based, I can figure it out. But you hit me with some math, I'm like, dude, we ain't gonna make it today. Okay, we ain't gonna make it today.
All right. So it's a light heavyweight fight. Nikolai Negumeranu versus Ike Villanueva. We've got Dwight Clark versus Francisco Trinaldo at 170. We've got Sung Woo Choi versus Alex Caceres. That's Bruce Leroy for those of you who are old heads in the sport. Jessica Rose Clark is coming back versus Jocelyn Edwards. Co-main event, Grant Dawson versus Ricky Glenn. And the main event of the evening, Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori. We're going to make our flash fight picks on the main event. So who you got, Mr. Keys? Man, Paulo Costa or Marvin Vettori?
That's a violent fight, dude. I mean, Israel's children are fighting in the ring, man. Who is going to lose it? I'm going to give it to Paulo Costa. I think Paulo will keep his cool more than Marvin. It's the battle of who's going to lose it first. All right. And
I'm glad you chose Paulo Costa. I'm glad you chose Paulo Costa because I was hoping to choose Marvin Vettori.
You think he's going to hold it together for that fight?
I think Paulo Costa is going to out wrestle. I think Paulo Costa is going to get out wrestled. He's going to gas with all that muscle, and by the time you get to round 4 and 5, the championship rounds, Marvin Vettori is going to be able to maybe not put it away, but I think he'll do enough to win 3-2. I think he'll come back out of decision 3-2. Marvin Vettori for the win.
There's a lot on this fight because we're looking at it as the Battle of the Barbarians. You can look at it as the battle of two guys that hate Israel Adesanya with a passion. You're looking at two guys that the winner is going to face Israel Adesanya, and you still think that Marvin Vettori is got more animosity than Paulo Costa. Okay,
Paulo Costa has a lot of animosity, but who made it longer with Israel Adesanya?
That is true.
Marvin Vettori. So I think Paulo Costa, he's a big dude. He's super strong, but at the end of the day, I think Marvin Vettori is going to get it done. He's going to out wrestle Paulo Costa because Paulo Costa, as much as he wants to say he's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt or whatever it is, he doesn't do grappling. That dude is a striker. And I think at that point, he's going to get out wrestled. He's going to get out grappled. He's going to get gassed, and he's going to get beat up. So Marvin Vettori for the win. We will see. And so that's our show for the week. Follow us on social media. On Instagram, I'm at Combat Sports Talk.
And I'm at Keys to Victory, and that's Keys with an ES.
And George is at darkside_Muay Thai_. And you can find us on our website at www.combatsportstalk.com. I just recently updated the website, so it looks completely different. And we are all on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Want to send a shout out to MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting, MMA Mania, Bloody Elbow, and we mentioned it at the beginning of the show, so we'll mention it at the end, the Intelligent Defense Discussion Group on Facebook, where a lot of the stories and discussions that we have that we use on the show begin. So on behalf of John Keys, my name is Ryan Smith, and I'm reminding you to keep your hands up, your chin tucked, and throw bombs. We'll catch you next time.